Hi, I'm Jeff Heyman, journalism instructor at Laney College, and I teach the Journalism 65 class, which is social media for journalists. In today's classroom lectures, we have Staton Winter, a United Nations photographer, joining us via Skype from Monrovia, Liberia. He used to be a photographer for the New York Times and Time magazine. And then we're joined by Ray Chavez, a Laney College alum and an award-winning photographer for the Bay Area News Group.
Funny thing is, the first job I had after I got out of high school, after dropping out of university, is I was a messenger on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, and I had to wear a jacket and tie, and a really interesting job and a lot of really interesting people, and I saw a lot of things you'd never read about in the newspaper. Nothing illegal in terms of financial transactions. It's just what brokers get up to before and after their job. I lasted there exactly 6 months and got fired for being late to work. And I guess it was a good thing because I just wasn't prepared for that kind of job. I was doing it because this is what it was expected of me by my family. But what ended up happening was that I got a job at a French photo agency in New York City, and this would have been 1981, thereabouts. And I was a clerk. I was a filing clerk, and I had to find negatives for the editors who would do the picture editing to send the pictures to the magazines and newspapers that publish them, is what we see. And I had been taking pictures since I was 9. My dad got a camera for Christmas when I was 9, and he never used the thing, and I used to take pictures with it. I was the family photographer. I never thought I would go into photography as a photographer. I just sort of fell into it. So I'll jump forward. I was working at Newsweek magazine by chance as a freelance photo editor, going through a bunch of images from former Yugoslavia. So this would have been about 1991, when the war had just started in the Balkans. And I remarked to the picture editor that I was working with, an older woman who had been in the photo business pretty much all her life. She was in her 50s, and she had worked at the Magnum agency. She was very well respected in the business, and I was looking at some pictures, and I said, you know what, this is crap. I could do way better than this. And these were the days where you could still smoke it. You could still smoke in the office. And she was a regular chimney. She said to me, "Oh, you think so?" And I said, "Yeah, I could do better than this." And I really, honestly, I had not a clue about what I was getting myself into. But that was my springboard, because about a month later, I found myself on the front lines of the fighting in Croatia, where the fighting was at that time. I had never seen people shot before. In war, I had seen people shot, because I grew up in New York City. I saw people shot, but it was just something you saw, and you stay away from it and keep moving. And I grew up with the pictures on TV and newspapers from Vietnam, and I think that's what led me to say, oh, I could do better than this. Well, after a couple of weeks there, I went back to Newsweek, gave them all my film, and they'd given me film, they'd given me cameras, they'd given me press credentials. Man, they just say, go. Okay, you want to do it? Go. The editor looked at my stuff and she said, Staton, these are good, but there's no emotion to them. She said, I can see that you're just documenting what you're seeing, but there's no emotion, there's no involvement somehow. And when you look at Tim Hetherington's pictures and you listen to Sebastian Junger talking about what they did in Restrepo and what they were doing in the Korengal Valley and what Tim was doing in Misrata before he got killed and what he had been doing in Liberia, he was engaging people. And I think this is something that I have learned over the year. It's not necessarily something you immediately get. You learn, you get a style. Anyway, that trip to Croatia propelled me to become a professional photographer and to pursue photography. That was it. That time, that moment, me saying, I can do this. And when I got there, I was home. I enjoyed the whole thing. I hated it. The humanity, the destruction, the pain, the sorrow, the heartbreak, all of that, the death. It's horrific. But I knew that that's where I was supposed to be. And that's where I've been since. Flying into Sarajevo in 1992 in a giant Russian aircraft that was more or less a cargo plane, and you're flying in with a UN-issued pale blue flak jacket, which is really nothing to change in the design of that since the Vietnam era. So, you know, somebody could shoot you with a 9mm, it'd go right through the jacket, you and out the back. You know, you'd fly in and there would be, people would shoot from the ground. A plane would get hit, you'd land, you get off the plane, you go through numerous checkpoints, and then you get into the city. And I still, to this day, remember the smell. What is that smell? That smell is destruction, death, and all the rest of it. The people that I met and worked with there were, for the most part, the cream of the crop. I was just, you know, I had no idea what I was doing. I knew what I was doing, but I really didn't know what I was doing. Photojournalists are usually a crazy group of people. Type A personalities, they love people, they love life, they love doing everything, but they've got to be there because you want to be engaged with people, but you want to be there. You want to see what's really going on. You don't want to see it on CNN. You want to see it with your own two eyes. And this is how people get killed. I know that I've had my own very, very close calls, and I think I'm a very fortunate person that I've been able to experience what I have experienced. Hearing bullets buzz by my head, knowing that I'm that close. Walking away from situations where people were most definitely killed or maimed, and seeing it happen and being able to walk away. I don't do conflict anymore. I have a 14-year-old son. I have a beautiful partner. I love my life. I can't really see myself doing hardcore conflict anymore. I think it reached a point in Kosovo in 1999, I think it was, that I just said enough. I can't do this anymore. I need to be here for my family. Some journalists do it, some journalists don't. All right, first things first, if you're going to go somewhere, you want to know as much as you can about the place that you're going to. You talk to people who have been there, who are working there. You want to travel with all the required gear that you need, but you got to keep it light because you got to move. There may or may not be electricity, water, food available, etc. So there's a whole lot of logistics you want to look into. You want to keep your gear, what you're working with. If you're working with still cameras, or you're working with video cameras, batteries, battery chargers, solar chargers, things like this. Keep your kit neat, together, travel light. Do your research. You've really got to know what's going on the ground before you get there. And sometimes, many times you will be able to do that. There will be times where you won't be able to do that. Still, do as much research as you can. When you get to the place, make contact with people. Hopefully you've got some kind of fixture available when you get there that you've already hooked up with, translators, things like this. But really, research, travel light. I have found over the years that the longer I travel and the longer I'm going to be on the road, the less I take with me. You know, a pair of jeans, what I'm wearing, a couple of t-shirts. I've been working in a warm climate for the last 8 years, so I can travel very light. But really, just take what you absolutely, positively must need. Keep it light, keep it packed, and go. I've worked in a lot of different places. It's really hard to come up with specific. And one interesting story, I was working in Central Asia, and I was given the assignment of looking for an organization, a group called the IMU, which is it's an Islamic militant organization, group, terrorist group, whatever you want to call them, and they operate in Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan. And I was on assignment for the New York Times, and they said, see if you can go make contact, get pictures. And I found a young guy, university student, who could be my driver and translator, and we drove for hours and hours and hours, and we met military from either Uzbekistan or Kyrgyzstan. I'd have to talk to them about what I'm doing. They were extraordinarily paranoid. It was very dangerous. There were people running around shooting at them. And I've got to convince them that I'm not a bad guy or a spy. I just have to document the situation. I got what I needed, more or less, but it was pretty tricky, and it seemed like it was a lot of work for very little return in terms of images. Kosovo. Having worked in the Balkans for the better part of 6-7 years, Kosovo was very tricky. You never knew where you could, next step could be a landmine, booby traps. These days, it's very good to take paramedic courses. I think there's, Jeff, I don't know, what are they called, RISC? There's different organizations you can take training with now.
Right.
So these are, you want to have some sort of ability to be able to treat yourself medically or treat somebody you're with medically, some sort of triage, bandages, tourniquets, stuff like this. I'm not being very eloquent, but I think you get the message.
Yeah, it's loud and clear.
It's been said that Tim Hetherington may have lived had the people he was working with had better sort of paramedic type training, not paramedic, but on the spot, war zone medical capabilities.
In the class, so she's ready to go here. Yeah. So, and then we'll talk about a little bit, equipment and getting those pictures. I mean, you've worked both, and then we'll get to the social media part in a sec, but both in like the film world and the digital world. It's a big change going digital, but I mean, you got to not only get to some place that's pretty nasty, get a picture, you got to get that thing back out. It's got to be a good enough picture to publish. What's that like?
That's the whole job right there. Forget about what's in your bag. It's what you can get. Really, these days you're bombarded with images, and everybody's a photographer and everybody's a cameraman, camera person. But really, all the award-winning photos that you see, or the award-winning video that you see on CNN, BBC, or whatever, I would say 90% of it is luck. You've got to be there, but you've got to know what you're doing. So you've got to know that I work with Canon Digital, I work with Nikon Digital. It used to be that I worked with film cameras. I used to have to process film in toilet water, if that's what I could get. Nowadays, it's much easier. If you've got a digital camera and you've got some access to the internet, you can send pictures, but you've got to get the pictures. So, Tim Hetherington's gone to the front line with a guy named Chris Hondros to get those frontline pictures. If you've seen the World Press photos that just came out, you have to be there, and you've got to look for the picture. You've got to look for that moment that will tell the story without having to put a 6-page story to go with it. How do you get those pictures? I don't know. You got to be able to see. You got to be conscious of where you are and what you're doing. You got to be conscious of the story. You got to be conscious of what you're doing, the people that are around you, and just look. Still your mind and look and see. And when you get the picture, okay, you got your laptop, you sit down, you edit, and I think what I've learned over the years from the people that I've worked with, usually if you have any talent as a photographer or a videographer, it's usually the first things that you shoot will usually be the best things, whether you agree with that or not. Prepare them, put a caption on them, send them. And your caption, who, what, when, where, and why. Yeah,
Okay, no, that's really good. Just talk for a second, and I'm going to open it up to questions from the class, but just talk for a second about how, I mean, you do a lot of social media stuff because I see you on Facebook, and that's been really fun, and you know, you're such a, and even, you know, your non-official pictures are really fun and great and nice to look at. But talk about how, like you just said, everyone now is a photographer and stuff, but you know, you're a professional, you've been there. What do you look for in a photograph? And how has social media has it dumbed down photography? Has it made it more accessible? What's just your thoughts on
it? It used to be that, I guess I've got more training as an editor as I had more training as an editor before I became a working photographer. So for me, I can usually see a picture and know that it's telling the story, and I know this is suitable for illustrating a particular story about a particular situation. These days, everybody's a photographer, everybody's a videographer, because we have these smartphones, we've got these readily available devices. But really, I suppose in a way, photography and videography has been dumbed down, but also what I've seen is incredible creativity come out of the availability of these devices. So what is a good picture? I think everybody in your classroom and most people that you know, when you see a picture on the front page of a newspaper, it's compelling. That if it draws you in and it captures your eye, then there's got to be some quality to it. And that could be a picture of a flower, or it could be a picture of a guy catching a ball in the zone. To jump to this whole social media thing, what I like as a photographer for myself can be very different from what editors will want to see. I've done a lot of work for the New York Times. I've done a lot of work for Bloomberg News, for example. New York Times wants a specific style of picture that if you're in a conflict zone, it needs to be graphic, but not too graphic. If it's going to be for Bloomberg, it's all about business, so it's got to show commerce in some way, form. But that could be a building. It could be somebody pulling a door open with a sign above it. Your pictures need to be able to tell a story that it's clean, it's clear, it's doesn't require a lot of explanation. Social media, I love it and I hate it. No, case in point has been this whole thing that's been going on in Boston, which is, I'm riveted by the whole thing, but also I'm horrified because there have been so many people and social media groups who have been so quick to point fingers at particular individuals. And this has been about race, skin color, religion. I mean, it's just horrific. It's despicable to me. And I have, on my own Facebook page, have been telling people, yo, you got to step back, and you got to take a deep breath, and you got to look at this. Let the police do their job and stop pointing, drawing circles around people and saying, this is the guy, look, he's got a backpack, and look, he's wearing a white baseball cap. This is just really wrong. And this is when social media works against a situation that needs to be handled very carefully.
Okay, no, you're right. You got a lot of nodding heads in here. In fact, we were talking that earlier with the chair of the department. Okay, so I got a bunch of questions for you before I give it to these guys. Just tell us a little bit on the ground there in Monrovia. What are you doing for the UN now, and just how are things, and what's the UN's mission there, just so folks know? We don't have to.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty easy. I'm in the place where Tim Hetherington got his start. So I am in Monrovia, Liberia, which is West Africa. It's really quite a beautiful place. It's warm, sunny, tropical place. I got here in 2010, and they were just starting to work on roads and infrastructure. So from 2003, which was when the UN arrived as a peacekeeping mission, which was to end the civil wars. They had back-to-back civil wars there for a long time. And the peacekeeping mission is now more or less, it's done its job. And what they're going to do is turn it into a capacity building mission, which is empowering the people, building capacity so that the UN can leave and Liberia can move on without this presence. I'm the chief of photography for the mission, which means I am supposed to produce stories and images that promote the work of the UN, but for Liberia. And it's to promote the people of Liberia. And the idea of some of the stuff that I've been putting on Facebook has been a police recruitment process. They have a lot of people here who, for 17 years, didn't get to go to school. So there's a lot of people who are in their 30s and 40s going to high school. They're going to grammar school. And they need police, they need law enforcement. And I am working on a series of images to promote the recruitment of women, for example, because they don't have enough women in the police force, and showing what they're doing, how they're being recruited, what they're doing in terms of training. And then the next stage of what I'm doing will be to photograph the new recruits working with seasoned police officers. Now, this may sound kind of, I don't know, it's interesting, but it's a real challenge because of the low level of education, which is very unfortunate. Training people who have a hard time reading and writing is difficult, especially when you have to explain to them legal things and how to interview potential suspected criminals, etc. I just did a big anti-rape campaign. Rape is rampant here, especially child rape, and it's absolutely horrific. I have interviewed and photographed 9-year-old girls who have been raped by their family members, by village members, and it's all kept very quiet. Yeah, the UN here has a very important task, and that's to inform and to bring up. The peace has been kept now for 10 years. Now the job is to build the capacity of the police and the security forces and to get kids in school, get them into jobs, and help drive the country forward.
Again, my name is Ray Chavez. I'm a proud alum from Laney College, because it's the college that sent me to the Oakland Tribune in 1994. I took the photography program, and from there, I was the last photo lab technician, who was hired. I was the last employee who used to make the black and white, I was the last employee who used to make the chemicals for black and white film, and to process film and developing prints, and then that was the beginning of digital when we started using Photoshop. Photoshop wasn't as good as it is now, and then from there we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have laptops. We had the a pager, so it was hard for us to to get in contact with the right away, with the editor or with the other photographers. And then there was another top model of that you can send text using that beeper or different beeper. Yeah. That was great. That was fantastic. To see those pagers. That you can say, okay, Ray, we need you to go to this place. Oh, Ray, there is some breaking news. Ray, there is some fire going on. Oh, Ray, there is somebody got run over. So that was great, okay? And we used to have a 800 number, so I can, pull over wherever there was a public telephone and call the office, say, you know what, nothing's going on, or okay, I got the picture, okay, I got this, I got that, and it was great. Then after that, we got the laptops, the cell phones. Cell phones was good. Then we have the laptops. When we had the laptops, that was much easier for us as photographers, because we have to, for example, if they send me to cover a Ace game or the Warriors games or Raiders or Niners game, I have to be there only if it is a nighttime game. I have to be there only for 15 minutes, and then I have to drive back to the Tribune office, and back then was in Jack London Square. So I have to run back. I have to drive back to the dark room, process the film, and edit it pretty quick, and scan it, and type a brief caption, and then boom, send it, to the editors. Okay, so it was a lot of pressure. Once we have the laptops and and the telephone connected, we can send photos from there, from location. So it's a great advantage. Then we have this, the social media now. Okay, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Those are the three platforms that that I use. Okay, I'm not into Storyfy or Google Plus or Pinterest. I mean, I can do that, but hey, I'm a shooter, not a. By the way, I'm a shooter, not a speaker. Okay, so I rather let my photos, to speak for, by themselves. And then what else? Through my career at the Oakland Tribune and Bay Area News Group, I have won multiple awards, and some of those are really good ones. It's a privilege. In 1997, I won my first international award through the Society of Professional. No, that's a different one. I have so many that are mixed up. Okay, what was that? SPN? No, SDN. Social Design. No, I'm sorry, I'm really bad. That was in 1997. Well, anyway, so. I have won the photographer of the year for the National Association of Hispanic Journalists, and also I got first places in the Associated Press News Executive Council, and I won third place in the Headliners Awards. That's a national award too, and I mean. A good number of awards, local and national awards. The last ones that I got was last year. I won the for breaking news, the breaking news category for my coverage of the Occupy Oakland, and there is no second place, there is no third place, there is only one place, and I was the one who was honored to get that privilege award. And then last Sunday, I got three awards, at the Bay Area, at the San Francisco Bay Area Press Photographers Association. And so, I mean, I'd rather show you my work as I talk. I mean, hold on. If you have any questions that I can answer, I'll be glad to. I'm gonna let it run the slideshow because I have so many photos. Right. I mean, I'm gonna start with picture stories. The first picture story is about this couple who has been married for 33 years, and they were very healthy, kind of wealthy. They have their own business until her husband, was diagnosed with what's called Alzheimer's. That was a really sad story, and I'm glad that the woman, his wife, was very open, to let me, document the struggle that she goes through, because she, from entrepreneur, she became her in-home caregiver, and it's a lot of work, and it's kind of it's a lot of stress too. And I did that only in a couple of days. Sometimes they don't let me follow them for long period, just for short time, but I do what I can. Also I do some features like the junior rodeo. That was in Castro Valley. I did something for, I cover breaking news. I cover everything, okay, especially here in Oakland. We have a lot of crime, so in 2011, yeah, I cover, I forgot how many candlelight vigils I covered, and I have a picture story on that too, and you'll see, okay. Mm-hmm. See. There is any way that we can turn off this light?
Yeah, I'll turn them all the way down.
Oh, that was during Occupy. Yeah, a colleague, he took the picture. So yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, I tell you what, I'm gonna do this manual then. Okay.
That you lost your shoe?
No, actually, no. What is it? Somebody threw the shoe to the cops, and let me see. That happened on October 25th. October 25th, yeah, downtown. That was the day when police officers, dismantled the Occupy Oakland camp, the Franco Gagua Plaza. So in the afternoon, there was this big protest, and right there, it was very, very intense. There were, I don't know, maybe 20, 30, 50 protesters, surrounding 4 or 6 cops. And then, suddenly more cops, came over, and they started throwing those, they threw shoes, they threw, paintballs, and then, because I was right there, you're going to see the images later, I got stuck right there. And when I saw the officer, when he went like this, because I cover, I have covered, unfortunately, innocent victims who doesn't have a gun, and they've been shot. Because of that, I was afraid. Oh, okay, I'm not going to move. Yeah, I'm not going to move, so I stay right there, okay? But I kept shooting, I kept shooting, And Carl Mondon. Carl Mondon is a great photographer for the Contra Costa Times. Now he's with the San Jose Mercury News. We share content. We are, together. But he's a great photographer, and so he took the picture of me, and I'm glad that he got that. It's one of my favorite photos in action. So I don't know if you can see. I was sweating because my job is it's a great workout. Because you run, you walk. You have to look around. You have to watch your back. Especially my supervisor was robbed twice in less than 2 months last year or this year. Last year, so.
There's a big New York Times story about that.
Yeah, exactly. Her cameras, her laptop, so you have to watch your surroundings. I mean, if you are you don't have to be a photographer only, but you always have to, watch your back.
That's an award-winning picture.
Yeah, well, he didn't enter that one, Yeah, so.
Unfortunately, wasn't yours.
Yeah. So this. So that's a couple from Alameda, Right there at that moment, that was kind of that was very, I don't know how you want to call it, sweet, sour, yeah. Because right there he asked her, "Are you my wife?" And then she goes, "Yes, honey, I'm your wife." And then he started kissing, kissing her. So, gosh, that was the at the beginning, when a few years ago, when it was the beginning of the Alzheimer's, he asked her, "Who are you? Are you kidding? No, who are you?" So I mean, it's a sad story, but somebody has to tell their stories, So, and she called me, to go right there in the morning, and to see, the whole process. It's a lot of work, and I got an award for this too, locally. I got a 2nd or 3rd place for the picture story, and ready to go to. He's waiting for his breakfast or medication, So as you can tell me, he needs help. So she has to give those pills. If he doesn't take it on his own, then she has to use the teaspoon, and feeding him. After she does, the first things in the morning, her first duties, She takes her, she goes with her dog and take a walk, while her husband is taking a nap or, just resting. Then they go for his favorite drink, Frappuccino. And that was 33 years ago when they got married, And you can tell he's in the right, on the right side. This, I like to go backstage about some events, which is, you can find some interesting moments too, You don't have to wait just for the action, So when you go backstage, if you're a reporter, I mean, you can get good quotes, if you go backstage too, That's ouch. He was okay, Yeah. Yeah. So, so that's the grand entry. They have some contest, It was fun. That was my first rodeo that I ever covered,
Were you using Canons or Nikons?
I use Canon. When I was hired at the paper, I was a Nikon shooter. I was very loyal to Nikon. But when digital came, Canon was much better than Nikon, and so I switched everything. No, they're still the same. I was Nikon and Canon. They're still, there was been a competition. So that's a story of the crimes, shootings in Oakland, innocent victims. I don't know if you're familiar with this story, but the brother Jones or Paris John, he was a good person, good Samaritan who used to feed homeless, and he was, that was in 2011, and somebody, just shot him, just like that, And then there's another candlelight vigil for another victim. That was the victim who was killed at Frank Ogawa Plaza during the, next to the Occupy movement. And that's her cousin. She lost her son, 17 years old, on December 31st of 2010. And that's in West Oakland. Remember the 1-year-old boy who was killed by a stray bullet outside the liquor store? Yeah, so that's they were held in another vigil, another vigil to stop violence. And that's for the 1-year-old boy. After they have to unplug him from the life support at Children's Hospital. And that was for not Gabriel, Carlitos Nava, the other kid, the 3-year-old boy who was killed on International. Yeah, and that's the their funeral. So they were holding another vigil, and then now let's see, Occupy. Remember the shot that you saw me? The opening shot. It was right there. That it was the same street, just a few seconds after. And I was hit by a flashbang grenade. After I took that picture, I was hit by a flashbang grenade. It hurts, And there is a video of that too, when they threw the flashbang grenade. It exploded right here, so I was hit with that. They threw it supposedly to spread the crowd. It was very intense, very intense. That was on November 2nd, after the general strike. That was in the wee hours, and but you see in the background there was another flashbang grenade. Then you see our mayor. I like that. See, sometimes you have to. I mean, if you're into photography, you have to capture something that is going to go with the story. I mean, there is a lot of tension, she was giving a brief, press conference about the situation, So it was pretty much out of control. And I like that moment, City of Oakland, she's like, okay, what's next? What's next, Mayor? What are you gonna do? So sometimes you get, speakers, in front of the microphone, making these movements, like this, like that. But you have to think about, how do you want to illustrate your story? Oh, and by the way, when I was covering the Occupy, that's the award that because of that photo, I went to Washington, D.C. To pick up my award for the Society of Professional Journalists, last year. And I won other awards. And this year, I get I don't think I'm gonna go, but we won in the California News Publishers Association. So anyway, when we were there, we were tweeting. I was tweeting. Okay, I did a little bit of Facebook. Well, when you tweet and you have your Facebook account, it goes together, right? So whatever you tweet, it goes into Facebook, or same to the other platforms, or same thing with Instagram. If I got an Instagram chat, I send it to I tweet it and put it on Facebook, and then sometimes the photos are retweeted. That was part of the general strike at the Port of Oakland. Those are the anarchists. The ones before. Well, I worked so many hours, covering that, the Occupy movement, so many. See, that was yeah. Then,
That shot was on the paper, right?
yeah, that made it on the front page, and then some of the protesters, they used that photo on their for illustration purposes, stop police brutality, yeah, Scott Olson, the one on the right, he's the one who was injured by a projectile, remember? Yeah, so. And that was the same night of November 2nd. And the anarchists, they are the ones who set up, fires, on Broadway, Telegraph and 17, yeah. Yeah, then that empty land, it's across from the Fox Theater. So that's the same at the on Washington Street between 7 and 9. That's the big march going to the Port of Oakland. See, stuff like that scares me, because you see it, they go all the way up, and how do you know if there is that thing can, break down, I don't know. I'd rather take pictures, So. Yeah. And again, that's at the. Then that was last year, and I got an award for this picture story. This on the five-year-old boy who was killed on December 30th of 2011 outside his parents' taco truck on International Boulevard. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So. Yeah. And that's they were holding a vigil. Because I have covered so many breaking news, vigils, and every politician, comes with a different plan, to start violence. I think they've been trying to do a lot of things and things. Yeah. So the one on the right is the father. And the one on the left, I don't know, maybe it's ankle. And there was Barbara Lee. Yeah, when I saw her, she grabbed him, and I followed them, right? And then not this guy, but another guy who's next to him, who is with Barbara Lee, he tried to stop me for taking pictures. They cannot do that, He said, "No, you cannot take these pictures." I said, "Yes, I can." Yeah, sure. No, and I told her, hey, she liked that. She liked that. She likes publicity.
So Ray, we have like about 15 or 20 minutes left, but I wanted to open up for some questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I can let it go.
Yeah, would you or show us a few more, and then yeah.
That's the comet, and the Pan Stars comet. It was really hard to see it. Okay.
Get the shuttle?
No. That's the comet. The Pan Stars comet on March 12th. Yeah, so I was lucky.
There it is.
Yeah, and that's the one.
I knew you had it.
Yeah, thanks. And that photo was taken with a remote. I have 3 cameras. One camera was on a tripod, set up with a Pocket Wizard, which is used for to shoot remote. So as I was shooting really tight, the space shuttle, I had it set it up like that, to show, the whole bridge,
Yeah.
in case, So that was my that was the photo that made it on the front page.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's some pictures, Yeah. So that's at the zoo too. Yeah, so I mean, so like I said, I mean, when we don't have much of assignments, it's our job to go and find something with a human interest, Yeah, and yeah, right there, they closed down the Bay Bridge, for preparations for the new east span. I like that because it's empty. It's always really busy right there, and it was a great opportunity, for me to show. I mean, it was kind of a quiet, but I like the speed limit signs, and she was the last person. That was on September 11 at the Candlestick Park. And I got to another park, and so. Thanks. Then I remember they sent me to cover the Sunflower Festival. Okay, all right, there it is. You got it. That was at the Half Moon Bay. That's a musician. So portraits. She's from Oakland. That's a new minister in Lafayette. That's in New Orleans, a bartender. Because back then when, remember Katrina? There was a lot of looting. So he was ready. Okay, if you want to come and get me, okay, I'm waiting for you. So okay. And then that's in West Oakland. I like the sign. Then I saw her, the way that he's dressed up. It reminds me like back then too, from that. So I said, okay, that's a picture right there. Yeah. Yeah. That's at the Exploratorium, last.
Halloween?
No, at the Exploratorium last year.
Yeah.
That was the last day at the Exploratorium. No, it wasn't the last day. That was for the I forget the name of there's a salsa dancing. That's for us dancers for the Our Lady of Guadalupe on December 12th. Oh, and I got several awards for these two. I went to Guatemala in 2007. I took over the Mayan immigrants, Mayan life, Mayans who lives here in Oakland and Hayward. So we went to find their families, in those small villages, and they don't speak Spanish. She speaks Spanish, but not so fluent. Okay, so that's the way they live, And I mean, I did a long-term project.
Blue things, are those
Yes, yeah, they make those their same their clothing that they have, so they work a lot for so little money, so. And I like the handmade tortillas, because it reminds me of my mom. She used to make it like those, like that too. One thing that I like about the Oakland or the Bay Area is the ethnic diversity. Okay, so that was part of the Chinese New Year's celebration. You probably know her, Diva Davis, yeah. That was 2 shows before she stepped down. So great person. That was part of the another dancer here in Oakland. So that's at the first Friday, Ardmore Moore. So the student, a UC Berkeley student, they went there to take a portrait of them. He's undocumented, so that's at the Warriors games. So they have dancers too, and that kid was into it. And I said, okay, yeah. And then there was a tournament, soccer game, yeah, soccer game, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I got an award for that too, and they won the championship there too at the Bishop O'Dowd. And yeah, that's a touchdown concussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably remember that, huh? I don't know if. Yeah, that's sad. That's sad. I love boxing, by the way. I love to cover boxing a lot. Hey, he's waiting for us, guys. Yeah, tomorrow, okay? Yeah, tomorrow. That's our guy, David Lee. Yeah, so those are our 2 guys. Yeah, and that's Andre Ward. That's working out. Yeah. Yeah, I know him since he was 12. So I have yeah, I know him since he was 12. So I'm open for questions. I'm gonna keep yeah.
So I'll start things off because I got a bunch, but I'll just do one.
Yeah.
So I noticed that you sometimes do color, sometimes do black and white, and a lot of the photo essays you did, the photo stories were black and white. What, in your mind, what's your criteria? What are you looking for? What
Okay.
makes a picture,
I
in
think,
your mind,
well,
black
for
and white or-
personally, black and white, I use it more for documentary purposes. Okay. That's the reason, and it has more impact to it. Color. I use it for everything else, for everything else. But black and white is mainly for my personal style. It's mainly for documentary photography.
Okay, and when you go into it, you already in your mind you say, I'm going to do this one in black and white. You think that way? Or do you change sometimes after?
No, actually I wait. Once I get there, everything is shot in color, okay? So you have the advantage, in these days, that to shoot in color and then just convert it in black and white. Very easy. Well, in a way, you have to know how to tone it, how to burn and dodge, how to use the highlights and shadows, all of that. But if I see there is a potential for a great documentary project, okay, then I think about black and white. Otherwise I leave it in color. So sometimes, when you do a picture story, in color looks good too. So, yeah, just depends.
So I'm going to go from left over here.
I had a question on that.
Cocoa Crisp.
Yeah. The question is, when you shoot something like that, you're watching the game through the viewfinder, right?
Yes, correct. Well, sometimes I'm like this with the other eye open, just in case that because I don't want to miss something else, So use okay, yeah.
So in that particular shot, it's difficult, right? But you did.
Well, yeah, you have to know the game too, because I remember when I started shooting, I didn't know anything about baseball, but right there, there was you have to know where or how you're gonna focus, who is the key player, you have to look at the scoreboard. You know, I mean, it's going to be a home run. It's going to be there is some runners on scoring position, or what. So you have to know the game in order to know who are you going to focus to. So in that case, you know, that was Prince Fielders. He hit a nice wannabe home run. So you know, Coco Crisp, you know, one of our stars. You know, he make a big jump, big leap. You know, so he stole the home run. And I mean, when I saw the ball, you know, going all the way there, you have to go pretty quick, you know, and start focusing, and you have to keep shooting, to start shooting, as he's running. You know, you don't have to wait just for okay, oh, the ball is there, okay. If you see it, you miss it. So it's better for you to capture it. Yeah. You know, so you have to, you know, shoot. You know, yeah. And I have the sequence of that. It looks very nice. Even when, you know, after he catch it, you know, he hit the turf, you know, and then he went like that. You know, so I have all nice sequence of that. So.
Now give it up for my this job. Now give it up.